Welcome to CX&Chill, the real, raw customer experience podcast by Exo Studios, the creative arm of Extend Apps. Listen in as today's host, Diana Castañeda, is joined by Jairo Saboya, vendor manager at Rappi. Tune in as they shed light on the motivations behind professional growth, the significance of respecting and valuing a career in BPO, and the exciting potential of AI in our ever-evolving industry. Enjoy!
Hi everyone and welcome to another episode of CX&Chill. I'm happy and very thrilled to announce our next guest. He's a guest that many of you will be familiarized with. He has a very deep experience in what we call the BPO industry, the call center industry, and also doing the jump into the tech world, the client side, or what we call, like the vendor management world. So it's a pleasure to me to introduce this person. More than 7 years of experience in this industry. Colombian, very Latin. I would like you to please welcome Jairo. Jairo, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Diana.
So Jairo, what is it that let's say that you recall the most of your experience in this tech world and journey?
So the whole journey has been pretty amazing. I think that when I look back all those years ago, what I take out the most is just how it transformed my life entirely. So when I started all those years back, I was very lost to lack of a better expression. It was very lost, and I definitely found in the BPO something to work for, something that really gave me a lot of passion, definitely a lot of passion, something that I was really good at, and I was able to get better, get some new roles, and then jumped into the tech world, which was wow, becoming just kind of the expert, so to speak, in a specific thing. Because when I jumped into the tech world, I wasn't like in the BPO where so many people were doing the exact same thing that I was doing, but I was the expert. I was like, had to put my language into something that would adapt to the industry, and that was like something really new. But it was definitely a very amazing roller coaster.
So I was recalling, like, you go back in time when we started, and then like those times when you're like, thank you for calling. So what would you say that, like, what experience or what moment in that time of your career impacted you the most and helped you the most to evolve to where you are today?
Taking calls, right. So there are two very specific moments that I recall. I'm going to try to breeze through both of them. So there's one specific call that I will never forget. It was like maybe 5 months in as a customer service agent. So this guy, he was calling because his cable was broken, like everyone else. Yeah. So he had some issues with his bill, and there was a lot to do with that account. And I started explaining everything that he needed to do and what his visit would be. And the guy just started crying right out of the blue. And I was like,
oh, sir, please don't cry. I'm not trained for this.
I'm not trained for this. But like the customer service training just kind of clicks in, and you have to show empathy, some voice in my head said. And I just started like going through the motions and asking things, but then I was really invested on what was going on with him. So long story short, he lost everything in his divorce. He lost his house, he lost his everything. And he was just very overwhelmed for it at the moment. And I just kind of helped him feel better. As a customer service agent, he did not expect any kind of consultation from me, but I ended up kind of having a very heart-to-heart conversation with him. And I hung up the call, and it was like, that's a very real situation going on right here. So it's not all corporate, and it's not customer service is more like a customer experience in all of that. So that definitely stuck with me for the longest time. And then the other piece was when I was starting to get really good, like at taking calls. I started being like a backup supervisor a couple of times. So my teammates will start like, hey, you go ahead and do this, you go ahead and show us how it's done, and all that. And that was the very breaking point in my career, because at that point, at least, because that's when I realized like, hey, I really enjoy this. I really enjoy teaching people. I really enjoy like being this good at something, so that I can teach everybody, and just keep growing. So that's when I was like, maybe I can not only be a backup, but maybe I can grow here. And that's when I started feeling less lost.
And it's funny when you said, like, I mean, just naturally when we say, hey, yeah, remember those times? Remember, like when we were in the BPO, and then we started to scale, not even starting to scale, but just doing our job. And then you said, like, yeah, when we were lost, when we were just like, we didn't know what we were doing.
Yeah.
And now, like, so it hits me because you share something very personal of you, and it's like, why were you doing all of this? Why did you decide not to be lost,
Not
and
to be
then to
lost.
understand that there is something else in this industry, that of course, like, it's a tech environment, and it took you to another, or it led you to another tech environment where you feel like, oh, I'm more empowered, or I'm more like, I have more affinity, but everything was related because there is a purpose behind. What's
Yeah.
that purpose?
So that's long. I'm gonna make it short. It's a sad. I'm gonna make it
Listen.
empowering
Okay.
story. So basically, it all goes back to I was 24. I'm an only child, and my father passed away that year. So I was just fresh out of college. I'm actually an artist, if you can believe that. I
Yeah, we
am.
can see it.
Yeah. So I'm a musician actually by career.
No way. Yes, we
Yeah.
can see it.
I'm shocked. Yeah, I know. So yeah, I started that in college, and I really wasn't feeling the passion. So I was really dealing with a lot of failure. So that was the very first time in my life where I said like, yeah, this is definitely a failure. I chose the wrong path. I wasted my father's money, and I'm not gonna do anything with this. So that was very rough. And then my father died. Then my mom and I, of course, got extremely close, even more close that we used to be.
Yeah.
And times were tough. Money was not very that we were
Sufficient.
sufficient at the time, so we started struggling a lot. So my
Okay.
mom started to think maybe we can rent this other room, maybe we can do a lot of things. She was very sad. And at the moment I was like, okay, so this is very hard. You can cry all you want, but at the end of the day you still have a decision to make, and you're still gonna have a problem. So I asked to myself, what else can I do? What else I know how to do other than this? That it's not giving me any money, because yeah, it wasn't giving me any money. Um, so I said, well, I can't talk English somehow. So let's see what we can do with that. And I landed in my first customer service job there. And from there, fast forward those 10, maybe 11 months taking calls and the stories that I just shared with you. And I get my first group of supervisors, and everything just kind of clicked in right there. So two motivations in place right there. My mom, of course, I got extremely close to my mom, so I had to be the man of the house and whatnot. And two, what was my purpose and what was something that I really enjoyed doing. So after those months of taking calls and getting my first supervisor role, I started learning that I had some skills very deep that I didn't know. For example, I had no idea that I was good with numbers. In fact, I thought that I was really bad at numbers because, well, I'm an artist, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it turned out that I was not bad at with numbers at all, and that I actually enjoyed numbers quite a bit. So the other part, like me leading people, that's something that I could just not imagine happening. Not at all.
And it's funny because, well, I remember, and just to give background and context, when I met him, I mean, he was an agent. I had become like a supervisor, a manager, can't recall.
Yeah.
And he was just literally lost. He was like, you wouldn't think all of the things that are behind this story, like that they were there. And I'm like just in shock. I'm like a complete evolution,
Yeah,
like the black and white of Jairo.
exactly. Yeah, that's really nice for you of you to say that. But yeah, I definitely find a passion there, and I started like we took our separate ways after some months, but then I kept growing. Definitely, I started just not a supervisor just leading agents, but then I started leading supervisors, kind of that middle management position, and then I went to a full-fledged manager. And then when I realized I had two programs under my wing, so to speak, with about 300 or something people, which was, I think, the most that I had in the BPO. And then I moved to another whole world, which is where I am right now. And I cannot possibly be happier and more grateful to the industry, really.
And how would you say like that VPO expertise slash background influence everything that you're doing? And you were very humble and very polite to say I do this for my family, but you said I do everything like simply to me, straightforward. Diana, I do this for my mom. Like
Yeah.
everything I do it is to give back to my mom.
Yes.
So it's like how do you feel about be starting in a BPO, probably where like everybody's like, what am I doing here? And then making that journey, be where you are today, and then seeing that all of that allowed you to be here. How does it make you feel?
I take a lot of pride in my road, of course, and I think that the best way is to put it in my mom's terms. So when she's like answering questions like, "How's your kid doing?" Well, my kid is 33, first of all, and he tells the story, and he's like, nobody wakes up one day and say, "I want to be a call center agent." No, no, that doesn't happen. But I kind of took the best thing of a very very bad scenario with my dad passing away and all that, and looking for some new skills, looking for some new passions, and in order to solve our problem. Like she says, maybe if we didn't face the loss that we had, maybe you wouldn't be who you are right now. So I would like to think that that is not the case. We'll never know. But whatever the case may be, I was really blessed with the way that my mom was with me through that time. So I will forever be grateful and do every single thing that I do to honor her and to give her whatever she may need.
And do you? I mean, that's truly inspiring, and I think that we have the ability and advantage, and it's just like something that it's within our power when we have experienced that, and where we come from, and we understand it, we have lived it. So with you in that position, what would be a good advice, or any type of advice or word that you want to share with people who are exactly where you probably were or felt in the industry, and how would you tell them, or what would you tell them to, so they can take advantage of that, and then like enhance it, and then just see where it goes?
Right. So, it's a beautiful industry. First of all, BPO industry is
So the love and hate, they
it's
say.
a love and hate. Yeah, it's not. I don't like what people say. Like, when are you gonna get a real job? No, that's a
Right,
real job.
right,
It really is. It
right.
really is a real job. The thing with being let's start with the but very first with being a customer service agent. It's that it's a very easy job to do wrong. So it's very easy to be just very sloppy, to do the bare minimum, things like that. But the thing with the industry is that I'm not some outlier case where like nobody does well in the industry. No, of course not. A lot of people do it, and it's because the industry has this way of giving to people something depending on what they are looking for. So for example, you can go there completely lost like I was,
Yeah.
and you're going to be just fine as long as you do it with love, you do it with responsibility. Or you can do it for just a couple of months, just maybe 6 months. I'm going to pay for some bills, I'm going to pay for my college, and then just get out. Whatever the case may be, just treat it with respect. It's what I always said to my first groups of agents whenever I talk to them. But whatever it is, if you do not know what to do, there's a lot of things that you can do there. Maybe you don't need to lead, maybe you can you are passionate about people, then there's definitely something to you for you to do there. But the minimum requirement is that you do your job with responsibility and with care. It's not just some random job, it's an actual job and you have to respect it.
Nice. And I like what you were saying. Just remind me of how do you see this technology evolution that we have, AI, like
Right.
everything that it's evolving, um and especially you that you look at a bigger extension of tech companies like what you're doing in vendor management. How do you see that this is impacting and changing the world, chat GPT, all of the bots, everything coming from where you're coming?
Right. So, I mean, chatbots are. Let's go back to like just the chatbots. The very first chatbot was like 1966. It's very old, and then we didn't see an actual version of what it kind of is today until 2001. And when those came out, it was like the industry is over. Like chatbots are going to destroy the
Yeah,
call center industry.
the
And
Terminators.
yeah, that's yeah, no, that was not going to happen. And what did the industry do? They would actually be able to uh, grasp the context and the content and actually be able to develop some technology. So business process outsourcing is the meaning of BPO. They're outsourcing things, services, not only contact center services. Contact center services happen to be the most common, but it's not the only thing. So the BPO industry understood that and started developing technology for their clients with chatbot solutions. Now, comparing AI as we are seeing it today with chatbot, it's a grossly oversimplification. I'm not saying that they're remotely similar. AI is going to change our lives in the midterm and long term, undoubtedly. They will. But we're not facing a Netflix blockbuster kind of situation. It's not going to absorb the other.
And it's not
It's
like happening now. It
and
takes time.
yeah, exactly. It's going to take time, and the industry is going to be investing a lot of time and a lot of money on research
Hmm.
to kind of adopt the AI way of doing things. But I don't think that we're remotely close to the end of the BPO industry, and there's always going to be a huge chunk of the industry that is going to be remaining with the customer service agent as usual. No doubt about it.
So what would you take out of like that customer experience, like that customer service agent level sort of thing? What would you say, like, this is something that will remain, but it will be empowered by tech but not replaced by tech?
Yeah. So I think that when I think about that, I think about what can be replaced faster by AI. So, for example, all those data entry things, all those back office jobs, maybe those are the ones that are going to be impacted first by AI. But the what we think about front desk customer service, but kind of over the phone, that kind of things are always going to be staying. People will always want to talk with an actual person, and that feeling that you get when you sometimes call some customer service and you feel like I cannot be speaking with a robot anymore. I want to be transferred to an actual agent. I think that we're years away from that moment still. So what the regular customer experience is being right now, I think that will remain for the longest time still.
Perfect. And then it's how would you combine that, and your experience, how would you combine that knowledge of we'll be there, it's just tech is just helping us, with how to empower from a leadership position in the tech industry and in this outsourcing industry the people who are starting in these careers, right? Like the ones that are probably still thinking like, what is a BPO? Or what is it, where am I, or like people who are looking to understand how to expand their business or scale it when with some benefits, and they are like, BPO, what do they do, and
Yeah.
how would you, what would you say, like, oh, these things integrate, this is what you will find, and this is like, if you're an agent or if you're looking for someone to invest in BPO, this is what you will get.
Right. So I think it's definitely it can be scary, right? People are starting right now and thinking like there's no way that this business is going to last, like
Yeah.
BP what? That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's still I would definitely just say just be calm. I think that we're really very long time away from an actual change in the industry from AI. So the final goal is always going to be improving the customer satisfaction, right? And AI is just going to be another mean to do that. So I would say what I would recommend what I've myself been doing and what my colleagues are doing, which is really documenting ourselves very well on what's going on, right? So AI is definitely going to impact everyone and everywhere. And let's just say that first of all, customer service is not one of their priorities, I would say. Like, for example, the biggest breakthroughs are going right now in healthcare, are going right now in um for example, the self-driving cars and the way that the layout of the city is being mapped.
Oh yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
That's really, really, really cool. And that's where those investments are really going. And of course, there's going to be someone right now thinking, how can I automatize the customer service industry?
And
There's
just like, yeah, because some are like, I want it fully. And like now there is a magic behind, and
yeah.
you're still dealing with humans. So
Exactly. Yeah, I don't think that people are really going to be looking forward to the complete extinction of the BPO.
it's
No,
more like integration, right?
it's
It's like, how do
integration.
we
Yeah.
complement? And it's like, yeah, well, we don't wear just, like the
Yeah.
smart technology and etc. to replace the fact that I know how to read an analog clock, for example,
Exactly.
or things like that, right? But they just enhance and help out in general.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely agree.
And so going back to your story of your purpose and why you do these things, like, so what would be your recommendation and the key things that you focus when working with outsourcers, right? Like, what is it that you as a client, as a customer, as Jairo, more than just a company, but you with your experience, what is it that you go and look and say, hey, I know that this place has a right because
Mhm.
A, B, C.
Right. So technology is of course a must. So it's a very old industry and there's a lot of competition. And when you start looking for providers, you start seeing that not everybody is prioritizing the same things. So for example, if you go somewhere and you want to place an outbound campaign or something, and they don't have predictive dialer technology, or they don't know it
They don't
very
even know
well.
how to use it. Like,
Yeah.
what?
What? Yeah, we can definitely take calls. Yeah, okay. Let's
It's
keep
another
talking.
video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let's keep talking. So yeah, technology is definitely very important, and they not only the technology that they have, but what are they doing to improve their own technology. So for example, on the business that you tend to do, they give you a walkthrough of all the departments. So this is operations, this is quality, this is training, this is technology. And that's when, like, okay, why are you doing technology, why are you doing innovation? So that's important. Second, the way that they structure the whole department, I mean the whole operation, um sorry, the other departments around the operation.
Hmm.
So you have your agents, you have your service or whatever. How do you put everything
Enable.
in tandem with them? So how does quality come in? How does the workforce piece come in? How does everything integrate with one another? Because not everything seems so seamless. So for example, you go to one and they like, "Oh, okay, so we train like this way and this way and this way, and then what? Nothing. They just are
How do you
trained.
connect it? Just like, don't
Exactly.
make it siloed,
Exactly.
right?
So it's completely cyclical. It should be completely cyclical, and not every time it is. So that's one of the things that I definitely look out for the most. And the way that they kind of structure the whole operation. So it's not always, and that definitely came as a surprise to me, because I had BPO experience in only two companies, and as a vendor manager I started going to visit to a lot of them, and they do things very differently. So the way of work, their know-how, it's very different.
Yeah.
So it's something that definitely has to click with what you are looking for and what of course your company is looking for.
Like your inner culture and how you extend it, right? Like,
Exactly. So not everybody has their operation structured the way that is good for your business. If you are running some kind of delivery app or something like that, it's going to be very different if you're running an e-commerce company or something. So the way of work for the specific industry that you have is definitely going to be a plus. If they have experience in some other companies like that, it's gonna be even better.
absolutely. And in that range, it gives you like all of the opportunities, as you said, to be whatever you want. It's an industry like the fast-paced growth that you can have in a BPO. It's like startups are one thing. Now imagine BPOs, how fast also the growth happens. And now that we have technology, like a merge of that, it's like boom. It's like you live 1 month, it's 10 years. That's equivalent. That's a ratio these days.
Totally.
But it's very dynamic, and it allows, as you said, like allows you to choose whatever you want to be, whatever you want to try. Just do it with respect and care and love, as you said.
Exactly.
Amazing. So Jairo, I have a last but not least very important question.
Sure.
And next are we like to live by our values, our core thoughts and sentiments. And one of those is stay wild. So how does Jairo stay wild?
So how to stay what? Sorry.
Wild.
Wild. Oh, wild. How does Jairo stay wild? Okay. I honestly.
Yeah, there are things that you don't.
That.
We're no filters here. Just pick it out, bring it raw.
Yeah. So, so I honestly get bored fairly quickly. So the way that I do things is just like understanding a very crucial structure, kind of leave it there, and just taking care of it doesn't fall off, right? So I like to sometimes like turn everything around, do something new, in very small things sometimes. So maybe I won't work from this place here today, but maybe do some other. I'll just call up some random meeting and share some random things. Probably I'll do that on Friday when everybody's tired. And
nice.
Just sometimes on Monday to keep the week
just to
going.
keep the mood, you know, like sí, claro, of course.
Yeah. So and just kind of be unpredictable between a very predictable kind of way of work as well.
You're a wind of change.
Yes, exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much. It was my pleasure, really, and an unexpected feeling of change, as you just defined it. But I think it is what it is. You just explained everything that we have lived through, and it's awesome to see you again. Thank you for sharing your experience and thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me, Diana. No, so nice to see you.
Nice.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for watching us. It's been a pleasure to have you as an audience. Remember, just hit like, love, whatever it is. Share and spread your comments with us, and we'll see you in the next episode. Bye.
And that's our show. CX&Chill is a production of EXO Studios, the creative marketing arm of ExtendOps. With today's host, Diana Castañeda, executive producer Sean McCreary, producers David Spear, Clarissa Coronado, and Memo Davalos. Editors and videographers Santiago Aguirre, Alfonso Ramirez. Graphic support from Eorden Madrid, and social media guru Claudia Corona.